All right. Come on down, y'all. All right. How y'all doing?
On your head.
Good morning.
Can't see your head.
Can't?
A little
Now?
higher. No, you got to put your camera up a little. Can't see your head.
Thank you.
All right, now go. That was good.
You get nervous?
Let me see now.
Sometimes I do.
There you go.
And then
That
that's
must be it.
okay. And that's when you just have your high power speak through you.
There you go.
I'm good.
Perfect.
God bless you. Thank you. Got my producers up here.
That's right.
All right. Who woke us up?
God.
Grant us serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not ours, be done. Amen. All right. First of all, I'd like to always thank God for last night's rest, this morning rise. Thank God for his grace and his mercy. Grace is always giving me what I don't deserve, and mercy is not giving me what I do deserve. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. How's everybody doing?
All right.
Good. It's a blessing to be back here at Kirkbride. All right. Ladies are here in the house. I don't know where the brothers are at. So, the show must keep moving. All right.
The show must go on.
And they must go on. I'm from Baltimore. I'm an immigrant and I'm a gypsy. I say gypsy because I lived all around Philadelphia except the Northeast. I say immigrant because, like I said, I'm from Baltimore, but I got up here. I left Baltimore because I was uncivilized, undisciplined, smoking weed, chasing women, in and out of jail. Homicidal, suicidal, deaf, dumb, blind, and ignorant. And everybody I was hanging with, living with, was acting the same way. So I got bored. My life became monotonous. I wanted more. Didn't know how to get more. I was living in the Matrix for years.
What's the Matrix?
The Matrix is like a mental prison. All right, we think we living it up, but we really wasn't. All right, and I got out of Baltimore and came to Philadelphia. My brother, he about fraternities and sororities. He's an alpha, and his frat brother had property, and we landed in South Philly. Anybody from South Philly?
Me.
Fourth and Siegel.
Yup.
That's South Philly in the house. All right.
19th and Snyder.
I'm from
19th.
Chester Street.
Okay, all right. Used to do a lot of copying on South Philly in the house.
Northeast.
Northeast?
She's
Okay.
South Philly too.
South Philly.
North Philly in the house.
All right.
Philly.
All right.
North Philly.
All right, we ain't gang. All right, we ain't going. This ain't gonna turn to no gang war. All right. So listen. So I'm in South Philadelphia. I'm tricking. I'm curious. I got girls in my house. They smoking coke. I used to smoke woolies, weed laced with crack cocaine.
Yup.
But I wasn't hitting the pipe yet. So the girls made me curious by all the activities they was performing when they skitzing. One girl's her eyes, her nose, her heads, her breasts, her coochie, her butt. I say, what the hell's wrong? What are you smoking? One girl running from cover, nobody chasing her. And listen, she thought somebody was in the house chasing her. Yeah. One girl just grabbed my phone and dialed 911 trying to get the whole house indicted. I said, yo, listen, I want to see what's going on in this crack pipe. So I hit the pipe, went to crack space. And I was in crack space for 7 years, faithfully dedicated to smoking coke, right? I've been using drugs for 20 years, smoking coke 7 years. Sniffed dope, didn't like dope, quit dope before I caught a dope habit. Ecstasy, I tried that, like that. Anybody had ecstasy before? You fall in love with this chalkboard. Your enemies become your best friends. Listen, ecstasy. But anyway, so I got 14 years, clean, right? But all we got is what? Today. So,
I actually loved my husband.
say that again?
I actually loved my husband on ecstasy.
Oh, did you? Listen, look, I'm a forensic ghetto black Kojak. Forensic ghetto black Kojak, meaning I don't like to talk fruits, I like to talk roots. Everybody understand that? Fruit says I shoot dope. Roots is why I shoot dope. Fruit says I smoke coke. Roots is why I smoke coke. Fruits is I'm a perkite, a xanthite, etc., etc., etc. Roots is why I'm a perkite, a xanthite, etc., etc., etc. Fruit says she can't stand men. That's the fruits of her tree. Why she hate men, don't trust men, is the roots of her tree. So when we come to talk, we got to learn to talk roots and not the what? Fruits. Because every character defect has roots. And if we don't address the roots of our character defects, we will always hang glide, live in addiction, and hold on to our character defects. You ready to get into them?
Yeah.
I'm like a promoter. I just come here to promote dialogue. Get y'all talking. I can shut up and learn something, right? Because I don't know everything. And listen, I'm not exempt from what? Relapsing. Anybody hear that?
Yes.
So I need help just like we all need help. Number one, anxiety. Anxiety.
Oh my God.
Anybody want to talk about that? What causes your anxiety? Come on, what's your name?
Jamie.
Jamie, what's up?
I don't know. Anxiety. It's been going on for a long time, but I see like when I start to get clean and I'm just coming in a program and I'm detoxing off of benzos, I get this feeling in my stomach, like unbelievable. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something actually wrong, anxiety or whatever, but it's like a bubble gut. But once I get that method on, I'm fine.
Your body just going through old attractions and habitual behaviors. It's natural. You find what I'm saying? Now is the time is the breaking process. Meaning that what you used to feel, how you used to operate in the storm, we can't operate like that in what? Recovery. So when you're going through like a withdrawal and you're going to have anxiety. I used to catch anxiety when it was the first of the month checks. First of the month. When I knew the money was coming. Who remember 102.50?
I do.
Everybody used to get welfare 102.50. They used to give us cash. For those who don't know that, we used to get cash plus food stamps. $204 a month in cash. Right, together. Right, 102, 204. And food stamps. And I used to catch a lot of anxiety in recovery programs because I used to always be thinking what I was going to do when I get my money. Which caused what anxiety? What girl I was going to trick with, who I was going to cop from, and where I was going to be smoking at. Caused a lot of what? Anxiety. The day didn't come yet. I didn't have my money yet, but I was already there. Which caused me a lot of what? Anxiety. And I couldn't listen to what? Treatment or help or recovery because my mind was so consumed by what could happen. And every time the day comes, I get my money, nothing happens. The girl I want, she's not there. The crack house got raided.
Oh my God.
And they burned me. So everything I had anxiety for never happened the way I thought it was going to go down. You hear what I'm saying? That's why we got to stay out of our head and just stay in the day. Anxiety is natural, but we got to control it. But we'll be all over the place like a schizophrenic octopus. All right? But thanks for sharing that. How much time you got clean?
Monday will be 2 weeks.
Give it to her. God bless. Come on, your hand was up? Anxiety. You next. Come on. What's your name?
Angela.
Hey, Angela.
Angela. Hi. I've been suffering from anxiety since I was a little girl. My father had killed my mother and himself when I was 11. So I grew up, witnessing a lot of domestic violence, waking up out of your sleep, hearing people screaming and fighting and always jolting, and throughout the years, it just progressed. I eventually, went through therapy, got on some medication for it. It's definitely lessened. And now in my adult years, my anxiety stems from always looking into tomorrow. When I'm not even promised tomorrow.
Come on.
I have situations going on with my kids right now, and I'm always thinking of the worst case scenario constantly. So then when either a court date comes or whatever might happen, it's never as bad as I anticipate. But the problem for me is that I live in tomorrow. I live in what coulda, shoulda, might not happen.
Anybody hear that?
Yeah. And it's really hard for me because when I'm like that, I run to Xanax. You know, so, and then that ends up making it fucking worse, because when I wake up the next day, I done wrecked my whole house, got my wallet robbed, my phone robbed, my purse robbed, you know, and then I'm even more fucking anxious than I already was, because I'm like, hey, where am I going to get the money for this? And where am I going to get money for that? To fix this, my ID, blah, blah, blah. So, anxiety is a huge one for me, and I believe that's a real big reason why I think I continue to use. If you don't handle the mental part of it, mental health,
that's right.
You're always going to continue to use. I also suffer from PTSD, and I never fully went through the treatment for it. And luckily, you know, somebody at my program, one of the counselors, he's going to take me through it, the one-on-one treatment. What they do, like, they do, you know, all kind of crazy shit. They take you, they make you go way back, make you bring up harmful memories. It's hard, you know, shit that is probably going to make me bawl, cry, and want to get high. But at the end, I know it's going to pay off. But yeah, anxiety, it's a mother effer. Another issue for me, like, I take anxiety attacks out of nowhere. Like, nothing. I remember I was here 4 years ago. I was in the auditorium. Somebody was sharing, and they started sharing about their childhood. And I guess it brought me back, and all of a sudden, I had to leave. My blood pressure was like 100 something over like 110. Like, my heart was just pounding. I was beat red in my face. You know, sometimes I'll be driving and I'll have to pull over on the fucking shoulder and have my husband take the wheel, because my panic attacks, they just come. Like, and I hate it. It bothers me. Like, it's always been something that I feel like has held me back. And now I know why. Like, I had, when I left here 4 years ago, I was clean up until 3 months ago off of heroin. And, you know, I had anxiety even coming in here because I was embarrassed. And then I said to myself, well, you know, I'm lucky that I made it back here, because I could have been dead. You know, I feel almost selfish because I have 2 little ones that are counting on me to get it together. They don't fucking know their mom's a junkie, you know, a drug addict. You know, sometimes when I have my son with me, like, he feels safe with me. And, like, I'm using, not in front of him, you know, just to stay even keeled. Not that I'm all over it, like, but that still ain't right. And I think to myself, I'm like, here goes this little boy who's just like in La La Land, happy as can be, has got no idea what mom and dad are really doing. You know, even though he feels like he's safe, he's really not. Because anytime you're using drugs, and with children in the house, period, that's a fucking unsafe environment. You know, and that's really hard for me to sit here and say this in front of everybody.
I'm glad you did.
But I'm tired. I don't ever get to the root of the fucking problem. I come in places like this, I leave, and then I stay abstinent from drugs. That's it. I never did the work. I never did the... I did a couple meetings, never did the steps, never did anything else that I hear these people say that they did and went through the process, and they all have multiple years clean. So obviously it can't be, it works. You know, I had tried everything else but that. You know, and now, like, when I get out of here, that's the first thing I'm running to. Because I don't want to be back in a place like this. I don't want to have to deal with DHS ever again. I want to be free. I feel like I'm scrutinized by every end, whether it's with my children or whether it's, I have housing, so I'm accountable for that. They're coming out once a month to check up on me. I got to answer to a fucking program. You know, I got shit dangled over my head if I miss a group or I can't make it one day. You know, I want to get my life to a point where I'm not dependent on anything anymore, where I run the show. You know, not the people running me. You know, and it's difficult, and I know it's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of dedication and a lot of work, and that gives me anxiety. because that it's gonna be a whole new realm for me. But yeah, that's all I have to share.
Good food,
I'm
sis.
sorry.
How much time you have clean?
5 days.
Give it to her. 1, 2, then 3. Then we're gonna move to the next one. Come on. What's your name?
Dana.
Hey, Dana.
What gives me anxiety is like everyday life. And my guilt that I carry for what, like, I wasn't there for my kids. They lived with their father. The shame because I wasn't the mother I should have been. Just me in my own head. My mind goes 1,000 words a minute, all day long. You know, it keeps going, and I don't know how to control it. Like I sit down watching TV, and it just, I think about like she said, I live in tomorrow. Anxiety is like big for me, and depression. Depression. Before I came here, my mom just died September 3rd.
Yeah, condolences.
So, I'm not gonna cry or nothing. Now, you know what else gives me anxiety? My father. Because I don't know what dad I'm getting. Like, sometimes he's the best. And then, you know, I understand he's 70 years old, he works 12-hour shifts, only one day off. Right? So, like, when he comes home from work, I don't know if I'm getting... I believe he's bipolar. But he don't go to the doctor at all. You know, and, I don't know, like, just like stupid things. Now that my mom's gone, you know, things that my mom used to do for me. I know I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40. The reason why I'm here, I need to gain my independence back, you know, and be able to depend on myself, you know, because I took care of my mom for a year, and I was able to do that. Like, I stepped up and did it. And I started dipping and dabbing towards, like, probably, like, the last month before she died. And then when she died, I went crazy. And I go to a therapist for 5 years. Before my mom died, I asked her, you know, can you get me into treatment after my mom dies? Because I know I'm going to use. So when I got in touch with my therapist, she was like, are you ready to go? And I said, yeah. She said, we'll do it Thursday. I was like, great, you know? So now, like, I get anxiety, like, will I be able to get a job? A good job, not minimum wage, a good job to where I can start renting or buy a house. You know what I mean? Take care of my kids myself. My kids are taken care of, money-wise. They're loved by their dad. They live with their father. And I can't ask for anything better, you know? But myself, I give myself anxiety. Like, I'm always thinking. It just doesn't stop in my head. Sometimes I just gotta pick up a book to get out of my head.
Everybody hear that?
Yep.
To stop it, get a book, read a book, to get outside of our head.
Yeah.
That helps slow down the anxiety.
Yeah.
Good food. Thanks for sharing. How much time you have clean?
10 days.
10 days. Who had their hand up over here?
Oh, I did.
What's your name?
Just real quick, I'm Alyssa. I'm an addict.
Hey, Melissa.
I get a lot of anxiety when I'm around a lot of people. I know people are probably tired of me talking about it, but it is a part of my story. And before I got out, I was in solitary for 60 days, and I went from that being very, very angry and anxious and all the things, right? And I used right away because I told myself, fuck this, I deserve it. I didn't even do they said I did to be in the hole. and they did that right before I went home. Like, that shit's not cool at all. I was not okay mentally. And I get anxiety here when there's yelling and screaming and stuff like that. Or if I'm on the phone and I'm getting ready to call somebody that I haven't spoke to because I was getting high. Stuff like that gives me anxiety, even good things like you said, or when you're using. So I can relate to that a lot.
Okay. How much time you have clean?
I don't even count.
Oh yeah? How long you been here?
I was here since the 2nd.
Give it to her. All right, God bless. Anxiety, come on.
When I get anxiety, when I was getting high, and it was a lot of torture around my family, tortured me, and I ain't scared to say they was raping me, and then all of a sudden my anxiety started kicking in, and I started getting high. I started crying, and whereas though I don't have that family support system, aunts, uncles, I don't have that support. And you know what I mean, they know where I'm at, but darn, even though we can't have visitors, but I don't want them to drop me off for nothing, because I don't need my family to drop me off nothing, because in fact, I got it on my own. You know what I'm saying? So, being like molested is a crazy thing. And I was, when I was 3 years old, that's when everything started happening all the way up to 17. So, you know, and I'm getting therapy for that, and plus I'm married, so I got another drug addiction the way it was my husband. So I had to remove myself from him, but I ain't going back to him. But if he not ready, I'm gonna let him. If he ain't ready, that be on him. But me, when I'm here, I'm ready to stop. I'm ready to move on. I want to be an RN, working in a working in a hospital and going to school. I don't have no time for no bullshit. And that's what and you know, and I left out the house. I got 15.
15 days?
Yeah.
Give it to her, y'all. Come on, she says, yeah, then you. Come on.
My name's Michelle. I'm an addict.
Hey, Michelle.
My anxiety stems from like PTSD. I believe a lot of the drug had to do with, you know, me getting real bad anxiety. But as I gotten older, it has gotten worse. You know what I mean? Because some things that happened during my adulthood that I didn't want to happen. You know what I mean? Like being raped, I've been molested, and all, you know, all that stuff. So that brings on anxiety. I mean, to the point where I literally cannot breathe. You know, and to now, like with having anxiety and these things coming up, I'm trying to deal with it sober, and it's really hard, but I guess it's working. It's those ones that come on like really bad where I can't breathe. I hope I can deal with that too. But I think PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder, has a lot to do with triggering the anxiety attack. You know, or something might have been said or being done that would remind me of something, or a certain smell, like, yeah, and that can bring him on too. So, yeah, I'm trying to do it sober. I hope I can. I mean, not that I'm gonna run to dope or something, but you know, I always started running to the Xannies, and I don't want that to be, you know, my next thing. Understand? So I know what I have to do, you know, get a sponsor and, you know, just keep sharing about these things. You know, and to Angela, kudos to you, Ange. You know, I too had my son taken, you know, so, but they took my rights when he was 3 years old, and that's a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, they only give you like 15 months or something to get what you have to do, because they give you a plan. So That's all I have. Thanks for letting me share.
Ain't for sharing. How much time you have clean, sis?
15, 16, 17 days.
17 days. Congratulations. Come on.
I'm Gina.
Hey, Gina.
I'm a drug addict in recovery. I also suffer from PTSD. I was molested as a young child. It's definitely like the panic attacks and anxiety symptoms like surfaced at like 13, 14. And I was prescribed Xanax from age 15 to 26. So I feel like I never learned how to properly deal with my anxiety, and that's why I feel like I go back to the drugs consistently whenever I have anxious thoughts or I don't know how to deal with them. When I was 26 and my doctor realized I was a drug addict, he cut me off of them, and it was getting off of them after that many years was very hard. And up until this day, I still don't know how to deal with my anxiety. I've been here for a month and a half now, and I'm learning this time around, really putting effort into learning what makes me relapse, learning my triggers. This is my 4th time here in a year, so I keep coming back, and my run gets shorter and shorter every time. So I really want to make it a point to not come back here as a patient. I really want to work here. I want to start as a tech and eventually be a therapist. But I really want to learn how to deal with the anxiety symptoms and then be able to help people deal with their anxiety symptoms. I feel like I have the potential to do so. I just have to stop relapsing and stop it in its tracks. They say play the tape out, and for a long time I thought it was very cliche, but it's very true. If you realize the consequences of using the drugs and you stop yourself before, or you realize that you don't want to, those consequences, they're horrible. It's horrible. And one of these times that I'm going to accidentally kill myself, and that's like, it scares me, because I don't want to die today. So that's all I got.
How much time you have clean?
46 days.
46 days. Your hand up? Come on, what's your name? Hey, Christina.
My anxiety stems from a few things. One, fear of success, fear of trying to reach my full potential. I'm scared. I don't like change. Like usually I be stuck in the matrix. Also, my other anxiety is my mom. My mom is a trigger for me. She has my children, and when she things go over my head, they kind of make me panic, and then I go out and I lose. So that's what I say.
Okay, how much time you have clean? All right, congratulations. Up front.
Hi, my name's Alana. I'm an addict.
Hey, Alana.
My anxiety, I believe, stems from like childhood trauma, which then became like adult trauma. I just have a very dysfunctional family, and it was just chaos growing up all the time. Like, the cops were called to my house regularly because of all the insanity. Like, my mom would call the cops on my brother, or my brothers, my dad. My dad was very unstable. He was like not able to hold down a job because he was so just like caught up in drugs, and also had like unaddressed mental illnesses that made his life like totally not functional, and that in turn like affected the rest of the family. And my 2 brothers like were also very hostile and had unaddressed mental issues too. My dad willingly burned off his own right hand high on PCP, because he heard voices in his head that said all his problems would go away if he burned his hand off. And before that, he was following my mother and like my brothers around with a butcher knife, like threatening them. And that's just like the beginning of the story. And then he sexually abused me and my sister, and he also tried killing like both my brothers on like several occasions. He hit my brother Sam in the head with nunchucks. He's like, I'm gonna go kill Sam right now. He was minding his own business in the basement, like having a couple beers by himself, like, and my dad runs down there, smacks the nunchucks over his head, splits his head open, and my sister jumps on his back, tries to pull him off. And then, like, nobody wanted to come back to our house after that because it was at a party. This was when I was, like, 16. And also my one brother, so one of my brothers passed away when I was 13 to a heroin overdose down in Kensington. So he like died in my other brother's arms. And then, but before that, the brother who passed away first was like sexually assaulting and raping my brother who lived longer. And that in turn made him like angry at me, or like not angry, but just like it made him, he didn't know what a like real relationship between a brother and sister should be. So he was like sexually harassing me for years, and like you know, grabbed my breast like once, and you know, he never actually like raped me or like went through on his actions and intentions, but still like the threat like was like existing throughout like most of my 20s, pretty much all of my 20s, like, and he would come up and show up in the middle of the night, like banging on like the door of wherever I lived, like, and asking me for money, and just, you know, the harassment just really gave me like a lot of anxiety because it was like persistent. And you know, then I finally forgave him because he like started getting his life together more, and he started coming over like for dinner, and started like, I was like, wow, I have a real brother now, like this is great, like we're starting to become a little bit functional. And then he OD'd shortly after that, like recently, a couple months ago.
Did he pass?
What's that?
Did he pass?
Yeah, he passed away.
Our condolences.
And that gave me a lot of stress and anxiety too. So just the chaos and like all the trauma and violence and like, you know, yelling and breaking shit, you know, I think that is like, that's what creates like a lot of my anxiety today, is like that post-traumatic stress.
How much time you have clean?
23 days.
Give it to her, y'all. 23 days. Let me ask you this. Thanks for sharing that, all of y'all. So much came out of one word, anxiety, right? Do you when you in relationships, do you find a guy who's chaotic or quiet? Do you want somebody who's just the opposite of the way you was raised? Or you, since you've been familiar with that life, do you look for somebody who's just as crazy?
Yeah, crazy.
Okay. Is your father still alive?
No, he passed away from overdose too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Our condolences. How old are you now?
I'm 33.
You're 33?
Yeah. All the men passed away in my family from overdoses.
Damn.
Wow, Lana.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. Here's another thing too, ladies. Who know about the movie Snake Pit? Write that down. Snake Pit is a good recovery movie on a lady who got post-traumatic stress disorders. And she had a good therapist who got her talking to go back to when it got started. It's called Snake Pit. There's another woman too that you remember, Joyce Myers. Write her name
I
down.
love her.
I like her.
Joyce Myers.
My dad got me into her.
Yes, she's a
I read
good.
a lot of her songs.
Huh? You read
I have a lot of her books.
Battlefield of the Mind. You read that?
No,
Yeah.
no.